Hey, this is Justin Gilman with Quantum Leads, and today I'll be walking you through your digital marketing attack plan to show you how you can turn your website into a lead generation machine and really increase your monthly revenues. So let's talk about how we can do that. So first off, if you take a look at the top here, we're looking at AC Repair San Antonio, which generates about 1,600 searches every single month. So a lot of potential for business just in this one search term. But let's talk about, how you can get that business and how you can turn those searches into revenue. Talk about is internal SEO. What is internal SEO and why is it important? So, internal SEO is all the different ways we can affect your search appearance or increase your search appearance from within your website itself. Now, there's going to be all these fancy terms that you hear out there like title tags, heading tags, local business schema. But for the sake of this video and time, we're just going to focus on the two most important aspects of internal SEO, which are content and keywords. So, first off, let's talk about content. Scrolling down your website here, you don't have a lot of content. You do have some content out there, but we really want to focus on being content full. And the reason that is because Google tends to promote content full websites very favorably, and it makes sense when you really get down and think about it. So, kind of giving you this overall idea as to why content is so important is that content gives users something to engage with. And when users have something to engage with, it tends to promote a more positive user experience. And when users have that positive experience, they're more likely to either come back to your website or use Google for further searches in the future. So it's kind of a win-win for both of you. You have that contentful website, and Google tends to promote you favorably so that you can get those type of results. Now, like I said, we want to be contentful, but how much content do we want? So normally I like to recommend about 750 to 1,000 words of content on your homepage, which may sound like a lot, but I really think it's that golden area to where, you don't have too much content to where it starts to overwhelm the visual aspect of your website. However, you do still have a lot of content and are very contentful for Google search engine crawlers. So definitely something to think about, but we can't just have any content, because you're probably thinking, well, Justin, if content gets me that far, why don't I just throw up a website with 10,000 words and call it a day? And while that sounds like a good idea, we can't do that because it's not going to work. We need to make sure that our content is relevant because we don't want to rank for roofing terms. We don't want to rank for landscaping because those aren't going to help us. We want to rank specifically for HVAC terms or AC terms to really make sure that we can generate the most amount of business as possible. So what are keywords, and how are they going to help us do that? Well, keywords are essentially the most used words or phrases on a website, and based on these words and phrases, Google's going to determine what your website is about. Now, it's important that we make these keywords very industry specific so that we can answer the three main questions for Google. And those three main questions are, what do we do? Number two, where are we located? And number three, who are we? What is our brand? So those are the three main questions that we normally like to answer for Google. Let's take a look at your current keywords and see if those questions are being answered. Tool I use called Keywords Everywhere. And if we scroll down here, you're going to notice your most used keywords to your least used keywords. And obviously, we can keep going further down and look at the least used. However, we're going to focus in on these top 5 or 6 keywords because I think that's where the most stress of keywords comes in. And that's kind of the most important aspect of our website when it comes to relevance. So let's kind of talk about our keywords here. So number one, you have air. Air is always a good industry specific keyword. I see a lot of AC companies use that, so really good. Normally, I recommend within your top 1 or 2 keywords that you really focus in on your industry. So number two is going to be some sort of industry modifier. So normally, if you have AC at 1, you put something like repair or maybe installation at number 2 to kind of complement that first keyword. But ultimately, a very good job is putting air number 1. Like I said, very industry specific. Now, if we keep working our way down here to the 3 and 4 spot, number 3 and 4, I always recommend putting your location in there. Number 3 being your city, and number 4 being your state. So in this case, we want San Antonio at number 3 and Texas at number 4. I know that you put Canyon Lake up here because that's your location. However, I would recommend not really limiting yourself to such a small area. I know there is some search volume out there, and it's definitely going to be a lot easier to rank because it's a smaller area. But San Antonio on a larger scale is going to generate you much, much more business. I actually have it pulled up for you because I wanted to show you that comparison side by side. So here we have AC Repair Canyon Lake. And if you take a look here, there's only 30 searches a month with a 0.31 competition. Now, to put that in perspective, this is on a 1.0 scale, so 0.31 isn't bad. Once again, we come back to San Antonio. We have 1,600 searches and a 0.46 competition. So a little bit more competition, but a lot more search volume. So definitely something to think about. But coming back to your keywords, number 3 and 4, like I recommend, city, then state, so that we can really drive that local traffic and tell Google where we do business. Now, in the number 5 and 6 spot, I always recommend putting your brand in there. A lot of people don't like putting their brand in their keywords because they just assume they rank number one for their company name. And while that's true in some cases, a lot of the times it is not true because there's always a business across the United States with maybe a similar name, or maybe the exact same name, that has a bigger brand than yours, or maybe a business overseas. So definitely something to think about. We always want to rank for our brand on a national level. That way, if customers are looking for us, they can find us on that national level wherever in the world. So definitely something to think about. But let's take a look at one of your competitors and see what they're doing as far as content and keywords go. Comfort Boys, and if we scroll down here, you're going to notice that they have a ton of content on their website, and rightfully so because they rank on the first page for AC repair in San Antonio. And like I said, contentful websites get those favorable rankings. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into this website, but like I said, they do have a ton of content. I believe it's actually over 2,500 words of content. So a lot of content here. But let's see what they're doing as far as keywords to point Google in the right direction. So once again, we're in keywords everywhere. And if you scroll down here to their most used keywords, we have air at number one, San Antonio at number two, and we have system, call, the best. So it starts to fall off after those first two keywords. However, you do get some ideas as far as, including your location, knowing that air is a good number one keyword and that somebody on the first page is also using that. So overall, use this as kind of a guide for your keywords, but ultimately you want to further optimize because just like I said, their keywords are not perfect. And there's a ton of other SEO factors out there that probably help them, but we want to focus on our content and keywords to really set a solid foundation. But let's go back to your website and talk about external SEO and how it ties into everything. So now we're talking about external search engine optimization. And what is external SEO? Why is it important? So just like we talked about internal SEO and laying the foundation and everything on your website, external SEO is exactly the opposite, where we're going to be doing everything off your website to increase your search appearance, but we're also going to be pushing our website. So internal lays the foundation, whereas external provides that big push to get us ahead of our competitors. We can't do one without the other, so never get that twisted. I always like to make sure that clients know that we do the best on both ends to create the strongest SEO strategy possible. But let's talk about backlinking as far as external SEO goes. So, what is backlinking? Why is it important? So, backlinking, very simple. It's just a link from another website, normally done through like an image, an anchor text, or some sort of raw link. And it links one website to another. So, when users click on it, it redirects to your website or vice versa. Now, this is super important because what it does is it transfers SEO power from one website to another, and it essentially acts as a reference to Google saying, hey, I trust this website and the information being presented, or hey, I recommend this website, you should check it out. Now, that's very important because that's going to give us a more favorable ranking in the eyes of Google. However, we have to walk a fine tightrope when we are backlinking because just like a quality link can give us a quality result, a bad backlink or a harmful backlink can really set us back and send our website down in the ranking. So, really focus on the quality of links that you're getting because if not, it can really tank your website. So, let's take a look at your current backlink structure and see what type of links you have built. So here we are in Ahrefs, and you can see your website is plugged in. Currently, you generate a 31 UR, a 3.5 DR, which puts you in the top 100 for 3,400 keywords and generates you about 2,400 users every single month. So that's really good, but let's talk about these metrics and what they mean. So what is UR and what is DR? So UR stands for URL rating, and what that is the individual power given to a single page. So in this case, we're just talking about your homepage, which generates a 31 UR. Whereas DR stands for domain rating. And what that is the power that goes through your entire website. So now we're talking about, all your different service pages, your areas we serve page, all those different pages are summarized in DR. And we want the best of both worlds mixed with our internal SEO to create the strongest SEO strategy possible. So obviously you're ahead of a lot of the companies we talked to at first because you do have some traffic going, you do have some power going. But once again, you can always expand your horizons and go for different areas. For instance, like I said, I always recommend San Antonio because it's so much bigger than the current area you're targeting. But let's keep going on and look at your competitors and see what they're doing as far as backlinking goes. We're taking a look at Comfort Boys. You see they have a 21 UR, a 1.1 DR, which puts them in the top 100 for 937 keywords, generates them about 1,400 users every single month. But now something to take into account here is the traffic value. Now, traffic value is a stat assigned by Ahrefs, and what that value is essentially where the traffic is coming from. So certain keywords hold more weight than others. For instance, somebody just looking up air conditioning isn't going to be as high value as somebody looking up AC repair, because somebody who's looking for AC repair has a lot more buyer intent. They know specifically what they're looking for in the service that they want. Whereas somebody looking for air conditionings could be looking to shop for a new air conditioning unit, could be looking to install one, repair one. So really important to look at this traffic value because their traffic value is over at $37,000, whereas your traffic value is only $8,000, despite having more traffic than them. So definitely something to think about as to where your traffic is coming from. Let's keep working our way down the line. We have willfixit.com. They have a 34 UR, a 12 DR, puts them in the top 100 for 2,800 keywords, generates them about 4,000 users per month, and has a 72K traffic value. We keep working down the line here. We have Armendia. They have a 38 UR, an 11 DR, puts them in the top 100 for 2,600 keywords, generates them about 2,700 users, and has a traffic value of roughly 80,000. So you see the big difference in the traffic value versus the actual organic traffic. However, you do also see that clear correlation between a strong SEO structure and the amount of traffic that's coming in. So let's go back to the Google search engine results page and talk about Google My Business and how that can affect your business. Google search engine results page. And if we scroll down here, what we've been talking about is down here in the organic search results. However, we do have this map pack up here. And, what is this and why is it so important? So this is the Google Map Pack, and the reason it's so important is that it essentially gives businesses two different places that they can win on Google. So you can win down below in the organic search results, or you can win in the Map Pack, both of which, like I said, are super important, super helpful. But now, if you can rank number one in both, you essentially guarantee that 1,600 people every single month see your business first before looking at a competitor. So a lot of potential here. Now, you may be asking yourself, how do I get into this map pack or how do I rank in this map pack? So to get into the map pack, we first have to verify our business via postcard from Google, which is 100% free. But to rank in the map pack, we have to adhere to a bunch of different factors that Google's looking for, which are a little bit different than the things we talked about before. So number one, what they look at is that you filled out that form to 100%. The reason I say 100% is because the more information you give Google, the more reputable your business looks. Number two, they look for a strong organic rank, which is why SEO is so important, because not only does it help you rank down below, but it also has some influence on the Google Map Pack as well. And then number three, what they're looking for is citations. Now, citations are all the different places your business's name, address, and phone number are listed online. Some popular citations are things like the Yellow Pages, maybe Yelp, Facebook, Instagram. All those are popular citations businesses have. So let's talk about how many citations each of these businesses has and determine how many you'll need on top of all the other ranking factors we talked about before. So here we are in Whitespark, and you'll see the order goes from top to bottom. We had Atlas AC Repair at number one with 22 citations, Tiger Services Air Conditioning with 41, and San Antonio Air Service Experts with 37. So you can see that there's a good correlation between the number of citations you have and your ranking. Obviously, there's a 22 at number one, but that could be for a variety of factors. Like I said, they could have a more optimized profile, a stronger organic rank, more reviews. All these different things factor in. But in our case, we want to make sure that we don't let any of those extra factors outrank us. So we want to make sure that we have the number one spot in all of SEO factors as well as the GMB factors. I normally like to recommend that you double the number of citations of the biggest number in there. So if it's 41, we're going to want 82 citations on top of all the SEO stuff we talked about before in order to really go in and outrank these companies. So definitely something to think about. And that's really all I have for you in this video. I know it was a little bit longer than expected, but there was a lot of things that we left out of this video for the sake of time. Feel free to shoot me an email after this. I'd love to talk to you or set up a meeting so we could discuss those things or maybe discuss any questions you have on this video. But once again, my name is Justin Gilman with Quantum Leads, and I hope this video was very helpful and educational. Thanks for watching.